March, Veterans Memorial Island Sanctuary Advisory Committee. Don't blink. February is gone. You'll blink again, it'll be April. So, at least we have St. Patrick's Day, and it's not tax day yet. So, with that intro, we'll stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Barbara, can you lead, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We'll begin first, of course, with the minutes from last month of February. It was forwarded via email for the committee to review. Looking at the minutes, I personally did not see any recommendations for changes. Are there any from the board members?
I have none.
Okay. So if you would please just...
Make a motion we approve.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. First and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And that'll be filed for record. Very good. And just to note, we have one absence. And Curtis will try to be here, but he was detained by an unruly tire that decided to deflate on the way from Fort Pierce. So, audience participation. Again, I would like to invite all those that are viewing, please join us. Any input from the community is always welcome. And believe it or not, even though we have an august assemblage here, your vision and your eyes are always more open than ours at times. So please come. Okay. New business. There was a request that was submitted last week for a memorial service for Sean McGuire. He was a corporal, United States Marine Corps, and he passed. And there was to be a service this past weekend on the 28th on Memorial Island. That was approved by the Veterans Council and the committee. And to my knowledge, there was no issue related to that. So,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I believe the gentleman who passed away was Joseph Thomas McGuire.
Correct. What did I say?
You said
Did I?
the man who signed.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Joseph Thomas McGuire.
Yeah.
There you go. And Sean was a relative. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Okay.
And the point also for those watching is if you have loved ones that have served in the military and would like to use the island for a memorial service, please contact the Recreation Department. They've got the procedures in place, and they'll direct it to us, and we'll get the necessary paperwork on the move. Okay. Okay, update on Veterans Memorial Island Sanctuary rules and procedures. What I would like to bring to the committee this morning in regards to that is last month, our attorney, and I'm having
Wayne, come in.
Peggy Lyons
Peggy Lyons.
afforded us an opportunity to go back and review the procedures in place, the written procedures that were there. She thought possibly that it could be articulated in a more coherent fashion. So I'd just like to get the input from the committee if they feel that that would be something that they would like to allow her to look at so that we could come back and see if there's a more efficient manner to identify the steps and rules for Memorial Island. Any discussion?
Didn't we say we liked it as it is last meeting?
I think the discussion was, and that was 2 meetings ago with Peggy, was that she thought that it could be organized, I guess, or laid out in a fashion which would be easier to digest. If you look at it, I think it makes reference to an appendix, and then if you look at the appendix, it could be consolidated into a single, a single page or page and a half that would allow folks not to have to make reference to another appendix, et cetera.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I just would suggest that if she is willing and has the time, that we should take advantage of her expertise. And just makes it a lot easier when you don't have to keep referring back to this and this and this to follow the sequence. So if she's willing to do it, I would certainly like to have her.
As long as we
Please.
cannot have it in legalese.
Well, it has to be articulated. So even an infantryman or a soldier like myself, it passes the Murphy test. So, is there anybody that would be willing to touch base with her and come back to the committee and say this is something that she might look at?
I'll touch base with her.
Would you like to do that?
Barb?
That'd be very helpful. Okay. Good. That doesn't require a motion, or does it? No. Okay. The next item of business is the Memorial Day planning for 2015. Just by way of illumination, I guess, the Veterans Council has identified Colonel retired Sam Coons to be the lead on that, and he will come as we get closer in and speak to the committee on Memorial Day. He's hoping to bring in a senior officer that would speak on that day, and also take advantage of the veterans that are here in the community to honor them. So I think that's something that we can look forward to. And the council will work with the city, of course, to make sure that we're prepared for that. So, okay. Okay. Old business. The update for the Pearl Harbor Monument restoration. Don?
Good morning, Don Dexter, Public Works. And you all should have gotten a proof in your packet, the final proof of the plaque. And we have ordered the plaque, and typically 4 to 6 weeks of time to get it produced. And we should be back well before Memorial Day, and we'll have it installed.
Okay, all right. Questions in regards to this? There's one point that needed to be clarified on that. There was one individual, and he's added to this, and his name is Wilbur E. Hills. He was identified by the Veterans Council as a survivor of Pearl Harbor. And as I look back at the muster rolls from Ancestry, he was a sergeant assigned to the Headquarters and Service Company, 2nd Engineer Battalion, Division Special Troops, 2nd MARDIV Marine Division, Fleet Marine Force, Navy Yard, Pearl Harbor. So that could be reflected so that we have identified his specific unit at Pearl Harbor. So that's there. The other note, I saw that the front medallion has been removed from the monument. So that
will be shipped off to be refurbished,
Okay.
and then that'll be reinstalled
Okay.
when we.
Now, the one on top, what will happen to that?
Actually, the 3 that are left, the large one and then the 2 supplemental name plaques will be removed, and they'll be properly disposed of.
Okay. All right. Questions on that? Okay. And the update for Lest We Forget Monument.
Yes, we've been been pestering one of the vendors to try and get back with us on a quote. We're still waiting on that. We did get a revised estimate for a simpler design. The original design, as you recall, was basically a six-sided cross. The cost for that was going to be in the $7,000 range. A four-sided cross construction is a little bit easier for them to make, and that estimate came in around $4,500, $4,800. So that did reduce the cost quite a bit, and we're still waiting on another vendor to get back with us with a revised quote. We just pestered him again Monday and say, look, we want to get this done before Memorial Day.
Yeah, really.
I don't know how long it takes for you to make it, but we're running out of time. So if we don't hear from him soon, we'll look for other options. But we like to get at least two quotes from people that we know who are quality.
And the vendors right now that we've received quotes from, where are they from?
One is local. I don't want to give too much detail because it is a...
They're local? One's local.
One is local. One is someone who does gravestones in the area and takes care of things in Indian River County and other places as well. So,
okay. All right. So you said one was local and the other one, both are in Indian River County?
I'm not sure where the home base of the second one is. I think he's in another county.
Okay.
But the one is in the three-county area.
Okay. All right. And just in discussion from the committee, if you look at the original construction of the memorial, it did have a beveled cross that was there. And if we are looking to restore it, there's an argument that could easily be made that we should restore it to the original configuration of the beveled cross. And in 2015 dollars, $7,000 to restore a cross to its original configuration, I don't think is exorbitant. And if you're looking at the granite beveled mark, and I know we have to be conscious of the dollars spent, but I think if we went to the public and said that there was $7,000 that was needed to restore to original configuration of that monument, I think it would not be something that would be looked at badly upon. So.
I agree with that, Mr. Chairman. When you're doing restoration work, we should bring it back. And I think if the community did see a need, they would step up. I think if you went the other way, then you would catch the flack for not restoring it back to the original. So I think it's the way to go. Restore it to the original, the best to our ability.
And the other point is, as of Rita, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think as of 12/8 was the last. What do you call that count?
Account for the funds.
We had about $13,700.
Correct.
So if you look at 7,000, we could still cover that and have $6,000 in thanks.
I think if we give the community an opportunity to step up and help out, we can certainly cover the remaining costs, whatever it might be, without any issues.
Agreed.
It'd just be nice to have the help.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think we'll have any trouble getting support,
I don't either.
monetary support, when it's known that we have a special project and we do need it. We need some help.
Wording is everything.
Let's go ahead and do it as Ken says. If you're going to restore it, let's do it right.
Okay, we'll go that route and pursue the original configuration.
Now, we should have a motion because this would go in a letter format to the city.
We need to wait until we get
we
need to wait till we get the estimates in hand and then go from there.
And you will ask him what the cost would be associated with that original
Yes.
configuration.
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. And the only other point to that would be if you found out Tuesday what that is, could we send that information out to the committee, Rita, to get
I'm not sure if that can happen. You can't do like a vote via email or anything like that.
Okay, so it will have to wait till the
Yes.
next monthly meeting. Okay, all right, very good. Anything, other questions? Henry? Okay, all right.
I have a
Thanks, Don.
quick question. It won't be ready by Memorial Day, will it, or is this going to be a long process?
Our goal is to have it ready for Memorial Day.
'Cause
So
that would be-
we'll see. That's one of the things we'll be quizzing the vendors on.
Okay.
We'll let's see, I think your meeting falls just after the first council meeting.
April
So it would be the
1st.
second meeting in April. It's going to be cutting it close.
Unless you decide to call a special call meeting just for that purpose to approve it.
And yes,
think we've
to
certainly
keep the sunshine
indicated-
law, you could have a special call meeting as soon as we get the quotes in and then move forward from there.
No,
Based on your, your estimate, I think we've all indicated that, yes, we do want to do it. So the formality of it, yeah, we can handle that in April, but I certainly would think that Don had the authority to just go ahead.
Yeah, we could take donations in. We
Is that
just
okay,
need to
Mr.
pay
Jim?
for it up front,
Okay,
and
so
we can
as
do
soon
that.
as soon as we get our best quote in, then we'll move forward. And then you all can make the formal request to the council.
okay, very
Okay.
good.
Good.
Thank you. Outstanding. Oh, please, before you sit down. I know I'm with expanding upon, but I noticed that, and maybe you're not the right person to ask, but do you know if the folks associated with the Florida site marker visited the island? They had indicated that they were going to go there, but I noticed that the crack was still in the marker. Do you know any?
They will have to remove the plaque. So if
Right.
you were just out there in the last day or two, then they haven't made it yet. They told us through Ruth Stanbridge that they
Right.
would be there within 2 weeks, and that was about a month ago.
Yeah.
So they're on a circuit around the state, and they're picking up plaques that need to be restored.
Okay.
So as soon as they get here, they'll remove that, take
Do
it
you-
back to Tallahassee, and I don't know if they can repair it or if they actually make a new plaque.
Would you want one of the committee members to get a hold of Ruth and chat with her and see what the,
I can send her an email. They'll be in touch with her, but that's what they told her about a month ago, was they'd be here she thought in a couple weeks.
okay. But, I mean, we can, if there's a member of the board that could call her or whatever.
You were welcome to. I don't know that
Would
there's.
anybody be interested in pursuing that? From
I'll
the
call Ruth.
committee? I mean,
You go ahead and call her.
you want me to do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I can
Yeah.
call Ruth.
And she may be able to give you more of an update on timeline, but
Okay, and just see if there's more information that she could relate to us so that we have it next time. Okay,
okay.
very good. And the island is beautiful. Okay. Chairman's matters. We have 4 veterans that were highlighted in February, and I think it's appropriate to take a minute to just to look at those accounts, and if we could, Captain Helseth.
You asked,
Who'd I ask?
didn't you ask Kim?
If you would, please, Ken.
Thank you. I'd be honored to.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Captain Albert O. Helseth, Jr., U.S. Army, March 28, 1919, August 19, 1945, was highlighted on February 3rd by Pat Gear, Cenotaph Column F, Row 7. Captain Albert Oscar Helseth, Jr., serial number 0-417311, was an artillery officer. He was part of the 935th Field Artillery Battalion, which was located near Frankfurt, Germany. At the end of World War II, Captain Helseth was killed in an ammunition storage site explosion August 19, 1945. The Helseth family is a pioneer family. They were instrumental in settling Indian River County at the start of the 20th century in the Oslo community of southern Vero Beach. He was the elder son. His dad, Albert Sr., was a World War I veteran. His mother was Ruth R. Helseth. They married in 1918. Albert graduated from Vero Beach High School and attended the University of Florida. He was part of Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity and participated in military training at Fort Benning, Georgia. Albert was commissioned and entered the Army in 1941. He served with General Clark's command that fought the Italian campaign prior to deploying to central Germany. Philip, his brother, was a soldier serving in England. He visited Albert on leave 2 weeks before his death. He was called upon to confirm his identity as next of kin. Ruth would petition the Red Cross for Robert to be reassigned to the state. He became her sole surviving son. Ruth was distraught at the loss of Albert. At her intercession, her remains would be returned on February 3, 1949, to Arlington National Cemetery for burial. In addition, a stained glass window was dedicated in honor of Albert at the First Presbyterian Church of Vero Beach. Records of the Helthus family are found in Florida, archived of the Indian River Main Library. Accounts of the Helthus family reveal the character of his close-knit family. Albert, like his dad, was a veteran and a source of great pride. Albert was killed shortly following the victory in Europe at 26 years of age. The Press Journal carried news of his death on September 7, 1945.
Thanks. And we know the Helsa family is as old as any family in Vero Beach as far as forming it. It is a major family. So, John, could you read Blanton?
Yes. Private Ebert T. Blanton, United States Army, May 19th, 1912 to April 14th, 1945. And he was highlighted on February 10th by Tony Young. Those highlights were on the radio of Bob Seuss. He's in Cenotaph is column G, row 11. Private First Class Ebert T. Blanton was killed in action in Germany in April, according to a telegram received by Mrs. Blanton. It was received on May 4th. He was previously reported missing on April 14th. He was a member of the 324th Infantry, 44th Infantry Division, 7th Army. He enlisted on January 11th, 1941 in Camp Blanding, Florida, and trained at Fort Benning, Georgia, and Fort Knox, Kentucky. He was released from service in October 1941, but rejoined the Army on November 3rd, 1942. He was deployed overseas in March of 1943. Ebert was well known in Vero Beach and attended local schools. Ebert was adopted by John P. Blanton. He was survived by his wife, Mrs. Grace A. Blanton, his mother, Mrs. Bertha Blanton. In addition, he had 4 brothers and 2 sisters. Ebert was one of 12 killed in action in North Crailsheim, Germany on April 14, 1945. Private Blanton's unit, A Company, 1st Battalion, was clearing a supply route to support a combat command cut off by the German Army. He died in combat while securing Baubach, a small village in the valley along the route. In the 10 days from April 8th to the 18th, the 324th Infantry Regiment suffered 65 killed in action and 226 wounded. The Germans suffered 1,737 prisoners of war and uncounted dead and wounded. Ebert is one of 7 men listed on the World War II honor list of the dead and missing from Indian River County, Florida, published by the War Department in 1946. His service number was 34007126. Grace applied for his memorial marker August 14, 1948, and he is buried at Cresslawn Cemetery in Vero Beach. The Blanton family may be found in the 1940 U.S. Census schedules and 1935 Florida Census. Ebert was a packing house truck driver. He was residing in the Oslo community of northern Vero Beach. When he entered the service in 1941, he stood 5'8" and weighed 128 pounds. In 1942, after his first enlistment, according to Florida marriage records, he married Grace A. Christie in Indian River County. His second enlistment began in that November. He was a casualty 3 years later. Grace was widowed when Ebert was 31. He was killed only weeks away from the victory in Europe.
Okay, that's good. Reed Jones?
Yes, Second Lieutenant Lawrence Courtney Jones, U.S. Army Air Corps, 1921 to September 1943, was highlighted on February 17th by Eric Menger. Cenotaph, column G, row 10. Second Lieutenant Jones was killed in action with 10 others when his aircraft was shot down on September 3rd, 1943. He was in the U.S. Army Air Corps serving with the 344th Bomber Squadron, 98th Bombardment Group Heavy, 9th Air Force. He is memorialized in the Florence American Cemetery via Cassis, Italy. He was awarded the Purple Heart and the Air Medal. Second Lieutenant Jones was a bombardier on a B-24, serial number 42-41026. On his last mission, the 98th Group targeted Sulmona, Italy. His plane departed from Leyte, Libya, to strike rail yards that supplied German Army defensive positions north of Naples. The B-24 was attacked by 6 Messerschmitt Me-109 fighters. 1 engine caught fire, and 9 members of the crew were seen parachuting into the sea. A month prior, the 98th Group was part of the disastrous raids on the Romanian oil fields at Ploiești. Only 88 of 177 Operation Tidal Wave bombers that safely departed from Libya returned. Courtney was born in 1921, the son of Mrs. LaBelle Jones. He resided in Vero Beach, and he graduated from Vero Beach High School and attended college for 1 year. He entered the Army February 24th, 1942 at Jacksonville, Florida, and he was single. Vero Beach Press Journal articles with his name appeared in March 1942, September 1943, October 1943, April 1962, May 1963, May 1964, and again in December of 2003. He is recognized in the World War II Honor List of Dead and Missing for Indian River County, Florida.
And I'll do the fourth one from February. His name was Private William Williams, U.S. Army, 1908 through November 9th, 1943. Private Williams was highlighted in February 24th, 2015 by me. He enlisted in the U.S. Army at Camp Blanding, December 15th, 1942. At the time, he was 34 years old, stood 5'7", weighed 144 pounds. He was separated from his wife and children. Private Williams joined the 135th Infantry Regiment, 34th Division. The unit served with the 5th Army as it fought north from Naples towards Rome. After crossing the Volturno River above Naples, his regiment was confronted by the German army in well-prepared defensive positions. The Allied army advance ground to a halt. Private Williams was a medic. On the evening of November 9th, 1943, an artillery shell hit above his aid station. 3 men were killed and 12 were wounded. William would die of wounds. 2 months later, 5th Army would attempt to break the German defensive line with the Anzio landing. The fierce battle would also cost many lives, but succeeded in securing Rome. Private Williams would be buried in the cemetery at Nettuno, Italy, established in January of 1944 as a temporary cemetery. It would become the Sicily-Rome American Cemetery. It's only 15 minutes from Anzio. William is buried in Plot G, row 5, grave 52. He was awarded the Purple Heart in Oak Leaf Cluster. That would be his second Purple Heart. Private Williams is among the men listed in the War Department honor list of World War II for Florida. His dad was a shipyard engineer. In the 1930 federal census, his family was reflected in Pensacola, Florida. At the time, his widow mother, Alice, was living with him and 2 younger sisters, Mamie and Ethel. And The interesting part of this is as you start to read these stories, you realize that the medic was killed fighting the infantry shortly after the pilot was killed with his bomber hitting defense rail yards that supported that defense. I mean, it's the connection among these men in World War II is astounding, and it's just something that hopefully, as we go through these, we'll donate this account, and the city will have it, and the archive will have it for prosperity.
Mr. Chair,
Yep.
when you document all this, is it also going to be put on file at the library?
Yes.
Okay,
That's
thank
what
you.
I said, the archive there. as
Thank
well.
you.
Okay. A final note from me, there's going to be a celebration of life for Marty Zickert's wife who passed away in Pensacola. This will be at the Elks Club on the 19th of March. It's a Thursday evening from 6:30 to 8:30. If you know the family and you would like to attend, please come. This is being hosted by the Veterans Council of Indian River County.
Is Marty coming back?
Marty will be there, and his son that lives here in Indian River
Is he
County.
going to stay with us?
Yes,
That's good. We miss him.
we do, and he will be back in town next week, and he will be here for a couple weeks, and then return to Pensacola, wrap up matters there, and then be here full time. Okay, input from the board. Anything?
I'm
Questions?
good.
Okay. The next meeting for the Veterans Council Advisory Committee will be on my daughter's birthday, April 1st, and April Fool's Day. So we want to, before we close, say thank you to Anthony Russo for your contribution by the Italian American War Veterans Post 3. Thank you for contributing to the committee in Memorial Island.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I have a motion to close.
So moved.
Thank you very much. This is closed. Thank you.